Okay, let's go.
Alright. Welcome to the Naked Truth Show, the show where we dive into the lives of aspiring individuals and explore their passion, challenge, and lesson learned. Sir Todd, the first question I want to ask you, what was your childhood like and how it shaped you into the person you are today?
My childhood. Okay, so you're taking me way back. So I am from the community of Lawrence, Cameroon. That's a rural community up in the hills of St. Patrick. My childhood, I attend school, basic school, primary school, just like a regular child. And we grew up in a system, I would say, in the 80s, where, you know, we walked to school. My parents would tell us about, the going to school without shoes. We were a little more fortunate than them, but we went to school with shoes, good uniform, but lunch was always an issue, you know. And what I remember clearly growing up in the country was that the government had a feeding program that was big for us. So we would get a little subsidy from our parents, but the majority of the real menu for us was the government, they call it the Nutribon and milk.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was really how we survived in terms of food or lunch for school. I was always what I call people refer to as a brilliant child, you know, and so I would have been in the A stream right throughout primary school. You know, I did the common entrance a little late. My friends would have done it from grade 5, but I did it in grade 6, so I was actually 1 year behind most of my friends. Yeah, but in a nutshell, that was what my childhood days be like.
Yeah. So family support. How well did your family support you throughout your journey to be the man you are today?
Okay, well, taking it from the primary level, my parents would ensure that I do my homework. They wouldn't necessarily check it, but they would be concerned that if I get homework, ensure that you do your homework and do your housework, and then you can go and play. But my family supported me. It was rough, you know, but my father did the very best that he can. We had an uncle, you know, I would want to mention him by name, my Uncle Hubert. We had other uncles that they did help, but our Uncle Hubert was one that really stood out in terms of financial and emotional support, you know, growing up. So my big sister Carly, she was very instrumental when I went on the sixth form at Arden. You know, she was the one who really gave me lunch money and helped me with books and stuff. So I had good family support. They saw the potential, and while I didn't go on to university per se, I did tertiary studies, but I didn't go to the regular UTech and other universities coming up. But I did my own home studies. Yes.
So, we come back to an important question. You're raising your own family. How do you prioritize your family? Especially you have 2 boys. How do you instill those values that you get as a boy growing up?
Okay. All right. So having 2 boys, I consider it, you know, a privilege and an honor to raise 2 boys. And sometimes you get the feedback from the society that, boy, you know, you raise 2 boys the proper way, and you know, given what children are turning out to these days, you know, when they see the result, they're like, you guys did a good job, and you know, I would want to give thanks to Almighty God. Or I would want my boys to function in the earth. I want them to build on what I have. So what I've told them is they have to be smarter than me.
That's good.
They have to be wiser than me because they are building on what I had and I'm giving back to them everything. So I'm very open with my boys. I give them, I don't know if there's anything that I don't share with them.
That's good.
Yes, I pour everything into them.
So, it's a this question now might be a little ticklish. Some persons say they find Christ when they are at the bottom or at their loss. How did you come to know Christ?
Okay, well, I'm a church man. You have some people you call church man. I'm a church man, church boy. I grew up in Sunday school. You know, growing up, you couldn't stay home. Even though my parents never go to the church, they said, boy, as a child, you have to go to the church. You know, and so I started both in the church. So things like vocational Bible school, Sunday school, it was mandatory for me. And so I would have found Christ through just going to church. And it really happens during a VBS, what we call Vocational Bible School, you know, where there was this all out pull for children. So I got saved at age 14. Yeah. So
So from that experience being a man of God, can you share one impact being a man of God you had made thus far that you would say, boy, you are very proud of? Or many persons we go to church, but we make limited or limitless impact on lives. What can you share one impact that you have made and you are very proud of it?
well, I'm a natural person. I don't go out of my way to, I would say I don't go out of my way on a regular basis to win souls. I win people without even knowing it because of how I deal with people, my personality, my demeanor, you know. And so, what I would say is really the example that I live that has really impacted people the most. And I can tell you, even meeting as I get older, meeting some young ladies and having conversation with them, I would think that I'm just having a social and casual conversation. But at the end of the day, I realize that I'm literally sharing the gospel with them, even though I never intended to. I remember one girl saying, boy, I realized you want to turn me into a Christian. I was like, really? I don't remember mentioning anything like that. But I realized just the way I live, the books I read, the things that I share, you know, I can't leave Jesus out of the conversation. I'm very spiritual, very philosophical.
That's good.
Yeah, and so it's really just being around them and you start to realize that you adopt the principles of Jesus Christ.
And this, it comes to this important point. You are a chartered accountant by profession. Telling me about you are being an A student in school would naturally draw you to wanting to become an accountant. But tell my viewers why you become an accountant. You could become a doctor because you are an A student coming up. You could become a lawyer, you could be in the community. What draw you to become an accountant?
Well, it's a simple story, we have career day at school, and we had career day, and a number of professionals came in and they spoke to us. I wanted to be, in grade 7, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer because I've never flown on a plane and I was fascinated by that thing in the sky. So I wanted to be an engineer. I tried physics, but I realized that my grades in physics was like 65, 70, not passing probably 75, while my grades in business and accounting was like in the 90s. So I was a natural accountant from high school. And so when it's decision time to choose, I naturally went into business, but what tipped me over was really a career talk. So in the late 80s, 90s, $1 million was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So when the accountant came and told us that accountants can make $1 million, in my mind, a million was the biggest figure I knew at the time in terms of earning. And $1 million here was a big thing. So I said, what? I can be millionaire if I turn an accountant. I didn't even check all the others. I just hear a million, and I love that figure. And I say, yes, I want to be an accountant.
So it comes to this point now. You are the managing director of Cashbase, and I want to give you ample amount of time. I want you to. I've known about your business. I've experienced you as an entrepreneur. I want you to give my viewers a rundown of Cashbase. As much time I want to give you. I just want you to speak about Cashbase.
Okay.
Sell it to the, or put it out to the viewers that they know about Cashbase as a managing director.
Okay. Just a little background as to how it started. I do accounting, but accounting was never ever my passion. Like I would hear some persons being so proud of their set of financial statements, or I prepare this balance sheet, and that don't give me any kick. I would tell you that farming gives me more kick than accounting. When I plant 3 acres of carrot in St. Elizabeth and watch those carrots grow, and when I reap and sell to the market, we sell in Coronation Market and supermarkets, that to me gives me more pride than doing a set of accounts. So yes, I'm good at accounting, but that's not where my passion is. And so when I was searching for business, I saw the opportunity where people were always in need of money. My co-workers were always in need of money. People on the street were always in need of money. And something went off that, what if I could provide this money to these people? And I remember when I told a young lady that, she actually said to me, she borrowed some money from my friend, and why he's so expensive. And when she told me the interest rate, I said, what? So that's how much interest you pay back? And she said, yes, it's too expensive. I said, all right, I'll lend you. I lent her at half the interest rate at the time. And she paid me back. This was the first time I was lending money for an interest. Normally you just lend money and you get back the same money. Believe you me, after she paid me back the interest, I felt good. And like 2 months later, she said, if you can lend her again. I lend her again and I get back more interest. So I said, wait, I could make some money. And that was how it started. I just tell probably 2 persons, and within a week, I had probably about 5, 6 persons who were asking me for money to borrow. And the business just took off from there. So I did it as a sole trader for years until, we realized that microfinance was taking off. And the government stepped in, and decided to regulate it. So we couldn't operate it on an individual small scale anymore. And I decided that I wasn't going to back out because I had already left my job. And leaving my job to take on business that's high risk. I usually work with Grace Kennedy, and I had a good job, and it was really a big decision to give up your job to go into business, because in the microfinance business, you might see a couple of millions of dollars now, but you're gonna lend it back because that's how the business is still alive. And believe me, it don't have to come back. The challenge to get it back is it can be great, so it's a very high risk business. There's so much to Cashbase to discuss. I don't know if I'm getting into too much details, so we can let me go. But after we realized that the government came up with an act, and we couldn't operate just like a little man on the street anymore. We had to start putting things together, formalizing things. That in itself was really where the business side of me, had to step up. Because we're just doing business naturally. It's not like we go to school to learn how to do business per se. Principles of business, and we have to pull on that. Some economics in sixth form, so we're pulling on all of that. But I realized that being an entrepreneur is really exciting.
Very exciting.
Yes, I love being a businessman. Being a businessman is like raising my boys. It's like taking an idea from zero, sitting down, coming up with an idea, and thinking about it and realize that it can work. So what really pushes me, and I get into the nuts and bolts here, is when I look at the prospect if the business succeeds,
Yeah.
it excites me. I realized that the fear of failure was there, but the joy of success was also there, and it edged out the fear of failure. And that is what I say to young entrepreneurs: dream it,
That's a good advice.
feel it. You're going to get the butterflies, you're going to get the doubts and wondering, boy, should I do this? Because a salary is while it's not guaranteed, it's safe. You know you're going to get paid come the 28th of the month
25th.
or the 25th, whenever your company pays. And I'm telling you that giving that up for something which is not so sure is not an easy decision. But I realized that if I stay in the 9 to 5, I will be making a certain amount.
Yeah, that it is cap.
Yes, and based on my vision, I need hundreds of millions of dollars. And these companies are not going to pay me that at certain level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are big on community development. Let's see where can you tell me one project that you have executed and how was that project? And you're a man big on everything. You're a man passionate about everything, and
Yes.
you're very passionate about community development.
Yes, this community that I live in, I live here and I can't ignore what happens around me. I realize that I am from a generation where we love to blame others. So, for example, people love to point at the government. The government not doing this, the government not doing that, and they themselves not doing anything, because they don't believe that they have any responsibility at all. And it started to affect me because I'm like, but it's really, we are the government.
Yeah.
So, how is it that they want the government to do everything and the people decide not to do much? Some don't even want to pay the taxes to allow the government to do things, because, if we pay the tax, they're going to steal it, so we're not going to pay it. Which, if we operate like that, we all go down. So when I observe what was happening in my community, I would hear people saying, boy, this community has been run down, they caught the dogs, and I say, what are you doing about it? They can't do anything about it. And at the time, I wasn't doing much about it either. And so I decided that I'm gonna get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put a team together. I really didn't want the top position as president, to be honest. I really took it because nobody else was stepping forward. Yeah. And so in terms of projects, we have done several things for this community. And one of the things I would say, several things that I'm happy about. We sort of keep the togetherness of the community, right? So sometimes we have what we call family fun day. Started out as children treat, but we really wanted to get adults involved. Because years ago we'd have sports day and other activities in the city, and all of that was died down. So the coming together, the last event we had was a talent show. So we go around the community and find out where the talents are, and we just have a night where we come together and perform at the community park. So those are projects that really help to bring the community together.
Speaking on that issue, you have great leadership quality. And one of those qualities that you have exhibited is the every man a warrior. I just wanted to speak briefly on that. Every man a warrior. That building men to become warriors. Not warrior to fight crime, but warriors to fight for families. Can you explain on that?
Alright, so the Every Man a Warrior program is really a discipleship program. So I'm a Christian at heart.
Yeah.
And I realized that Jesus Christ, being the greatest man that ever walked the earth, he left some principles and some tenets for us to follow. And when I check it, I realize that they are solid. Now I buy into the tenets of Jesus Christ 100%. And so I even do my own studies, because there are several things that Jesus would have said that we misinterpret or misunderstand. And so I wanted to understand his language when they say certain things, what does it mean? So that is how serious I take the teachings of Jesus Christ. I really wanted to understand. Our Bible is very silent on the life of Jesus after the age of 12. I am very curious. Because if this is the greatest man that ever walked the earth, I want to know how he lived between age 13 and 30. You know, so I do my own studies. Some will say, boy, it's dangerous because, you know, it's not guided. But I have the ability to pick sense out of nonsense, you know. And so the tenets of Jesus Christ is something that I push, and every man a warrior gives me the ability to share that with other men because I know a lot of things. And there are a lot of things that I still don't know. And the more I live, is the more I realize that there's so much more that I need to know. And I look at the men out there, and if you are not learning, if you are not studying, I'm wondering, oh, you make it. And so part of my mandate is really to teach the word of God to all the people that I meet. And I don't just teach it from a religious standpoint to say, oh, good morning, sir. You know, I am from a particular church and I want to break the word of God with you. No, I will talk to you just like a regular man. And within my talk, you start to realize that I'm referring to the Bible, I'm referring to Jesus Christ. You know, and that is how I live my life. Yeah. So I'm passionate about every man a warrior because I realized just like what Jesus did, he took 12 men aside, and I think he started a bit more, but he took these men aside and he decided to pour himself into them and teach them the principles of life and show them because there's a difference between hearing a thing and doing it. And so what he came to earth to do is to show us the way. So I can tell you a lot of things from the Bible, but it doesn't mean a lot to you because
That's true.
you have never seen it being lived out.
Experience harmony, yes.
Yes, so when he came and showed them, sometimes you watch movies that will help to bring out the reaction of Jesus Christ and you realize how composed and calm he was. And I said, wow, this is what he meant when he said, fear not. Because even when he was in trouble, you realize that he approached it with a certain calmness. And I know they are reenacting it, but that helps. And some of us learn by visual, you know. Yeah. And so with every man a warrior, we try to be very practical. So if we're teaching men about, you know, building confidence or building relationship with their children and with their wives, we want to demonstrate it. You go have to do something, come back and report on it. So it's a very practical program. I love it.
That's nice. We oftentimes see men, especially men overall, the glitz, the glamour, everything, and they forget one important thing. What self-care tip you prioritize? Because it is important that you prioritize in some self-care. You can't get every day and not taking care of yourself and then you run it down all these wealth and then when you run down all these wealth you spend back to the laptop. What are some self-care tips that you're prioritizing as a man?
Well, self-care tips, I would say I need to do a better job on that because sometimes you have the objective of getting to a particular place and you pursue it so strongly that, you know, even self-care can become effective at times. And so I would really want to say that rest for me is big. So there are different theories on how many hours rest one needs, but your body don't lie. You know, your body will tell you when to rest, and so I realized that I need to rest more, and not just in terms of quantity of time, but the quality. Because sometimes we can rest and our mind is not at rest.
That's true.
Yeah, so I try to practice mindfulness, and if I want to have good dreams or have a peaceful rest, I just block certain things from my mind for that night. It come with practice. You know, it's not something that you can just jump into, but when you're conscious of it, you can start making effort. So I would say adequate rest and breaks even throughout the day.
Yeah.
Mental breaks. Yeah, as an accountant, when you have your head down, believe you me, sometimes you forget to lift it up because you're trying to balance the books, you're trying to get everything right. And that in itself, it's for one, it hurts the eye, it can affect the brain, it affects the blood circulation. So I realized that we have to build space and pace ourselves properly. And so throughout the work day, we take a 15 minutes break and we go and rejuvenate, take a coffee break. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we can do to help us for our personal well-being.
So what are some of the books or resources you use to help to fuel your growth?
Okay, that's a big one. So there are a couple of people that I listen to. Of course, I'm a member of Worship and Faith International Fellowship, so I listen to Apostle Dr. Colin McLean. I also listen to Miles Monroe. I listen to Joshua Selman, and there are other persons out there that I listen to from time to time. So my books, I would listen to Eckhart. Well, I don't listen to Eckhart. I find Eckhart to be, in terms of his audio, not so exciting, but his written works, I find it to be powerful. This is the man who wrote The Power of Now. And he also wrote a book called Silence. Silence is like a devotional for me. I read Silence probably over 20 times. Because he himself tell you in the introduction, this is not a book you just read off and put aside and tell people. You have to read that book maybe one page at a time. That's how heavy the book is. It's loaded information. And why am I so passionate about this book? This book, when I'm reading this book, it's like the words come alive. It's like the words are jumping out the pages. And so I am excited about this book. The Power of Now is deep. I would share it with persons. I remember I shared it with a young lady. She's like, boy, can I get a copy? And you know, when I shared the book with her, I said, how far are you reaching the book? She said, boy, I don't reach past chapter 1, you know. And after like 3 months, she's still at chapter 1. I said, you're not finding the book exciting. She said, boy, the one, I'd rather you read the book and tell me about it. Because I am trying to get the same excitement from that book that you get. And I find the book boring. So I'm like, wow. So she said, you read the book and come and share the book with me. And I realized that I have that gift now where I understand the book. And I'm not going to repeat the book word for word when I'm sharing about the book with people. Because I am learning from the book and getting it inside of me and then reinterpreting the book to people, and they are understanding me. And you know, I said, whoa, that is interesting. Same book. Yeah. So I read book like The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, Silence, Eckhart Tolle, Miles Monroe. He has this book where he talks about the kingdom. He is heavy on the kingdom, and I love it because yes, I don't see anybody else who break down the kingdom of heaven like Miles Monroe break it down, and that to me is really what Christianity is about. So I have weird. It's not weird, but it's not common. People want to go to heaven,
but no one to follow principles.
But no, when I understand this whole going to heaven thing, it's not about going to heaven. It's about living quality life on earth. So this thing where you want to go to heaven, you know, you don't want to die still, but you know, so boy, there's this pearly gate where you go and walk on streets of gold. I now come to have a better understanding of what this heaven thing is. So my aspiration is not necessarily to go and walk on streets of gold, because there are streets of gold on earth. There are places with gold lying in the place on earth. So if that is really what you want, then there are places on earth where you can find your heaven. Yes, sir.
So what are some long-term goals you have, either for your business or personal? Do you want to share any of them?
Long-term goal. Alright, I have several of them. So as a farmer, I want to build a cold storage plant in St. Elizabeth. I go down there and I see so much waste. I go there when I see mangoes on the ground. There were mangoes covering the ground you couldn't find. It's like a carpet. And I'm like, why are we wasting the food so much? Yeah, turnip, we plant turnip and try to sell it in Coronation Market, $10 a pound. We couldn't sell it at $10 a pound. We had to basically give it away. And I'm like, we have to do these things because when you reap, these things can't last more than a week. And so after that, you have to throw it away. So I realized that we are losing because we don't set up our agriculture properly. So I saw that and decided I need to build a full-stage plan in simplicity. So that's one long-term vision. I also want to revolutionize schools, maths department, computer department. Yeah, I want enough money to go into the schools. So I didn't like school per se. I like to learn, but I didn't like school setting. I want to set up schools in such a way that children don't even want to stay home. When they go into their computer lab, when I watch Black Panther and I saw the technology that black people can engineer, I said, wait, this looks like something futuristic, something that I want to be involved in. The science department, I want it to be cutting edge so that children don't want to stay home. You want to learn, you want to get into the labs, you want to get into the computer lab, you want to create apps to enhance the lives of people. But it has to be done in a real way. You don't want a little textbook in front of you that you're saying x squared plus bx plus c equals
Real
0.
manipulatives that they can play with.
Yes, it has to be real. And if you are going to learn trigonometry or calculus, it must be demonstrated in a real life setting.
It's a math in action.
Yes, that is my vision, and I'm passionate
That's a
about
very
it.
good one.
Yes.
Hey, come to this now. I want you to look into the camera. I want you to give some advice. What would you give some advice to young people who are pursuing their dream? Because many of our young people, it's not that they don't want to pursue something great. While pursuing what they are going after, sometimes they lost along the way because there's no one to mentor them. There's no one to help to guide them along the way. And the way we treat them and the expectation that we have on them, sometimes it distracts them from wanting to go far. What are some advice would you give to young people? You have about 3 minutes to share and tell some
Alright.
advice.
I have a passion for the youths. I see them all around me. I see them in the call centers. I see them on the street. I see some of them, when they get a little break, they smoke, they lean from the corners, they grab a girl. I hear some youth saying, yeah, you want to breed him girl next month, and you don't have it, but they are lost. They are totally lost. And so I have a passion for the youth to help to guide them. They will come out very aggressive, and what I see is that adults tend to shy away from them. If you should go to the JUTC bus center, the transport center in Alpha Tree, and just observe them, you realize that they are lost, but you can't talk to them easily. And so adults tend to write them off as hooligans. And I realize that they are just really searching for themselves. And so one of the mandate that is on my life is to find a way, and even if I don't know how to function in the streets or in the ghetto, I am getting people around me to take to these people, to talk to them. So these men who have gone to prison serve their time. I want to link up with these men. Some of these DJs that have influence and experience life in Jamaica, I want them to come back and tell the youth the truth, because there's a lot of hype around money. You can imagine 14% of our youth want to be scammers. Yeah, they are misguided. So I want those who have been through life and understand it to come back now and tell the youths the truth. So the question is, what would I say to the youths in terms of going after their dreams? Youths, open up your eyes and realize what is happening. Living to 30 is not it. Because these days I realize that we have redefined old. So at 30 and 40, people are being called old, or some term it as elder. And the youths, I realize that if they live up to, say, 30, they feel like they live far, or they live a full life. No, you're just starting to live. So don't be fooled by what you're seeing around you. 30 is young, 40 is still young. and you have a life ahead of you. And so, look around. Those who have adopted a certain lifestyle, how well are they functioning in society? So you have some money, but you have to be looking over your shoulder. You're a scammer. You rob people of their hard-earned money. How satisfying is that to you? You might say, boy, they have lost their moral compass. But the truth is, every man have a conscience. And at some point, they will look back and say, wow, did I live my life well? You don't want on your deathbed, you're looking back and realize how evil you were to the society at large. You know? So I'm saying, use your conscience, be fair. Yeah, live a good quality life. So there are numerous opportunities out there in Jamaica right now. I don't know. Youths are talking about they don't have opportunity. That is not true. There are numerous opportunity. I am a businessman. I am an accountant. I went to art the other day to learn about solar. How to set up solar panels, how to connect up batteries and things like those. And I'm saying there are opportunities. They teach you how to weld, they teach you how to make furniture, they teach you how to do electrical. Don't complain about there's no opportunity. There are abundance of opportunity out there. So I would say align yourself with someone who's going somewhere. Change your role model. The people that are out there that are telling you that this is the hype life, they are not happy. I am telling you, they are not happy. They're on Facebook and they're on TikTok and Instagram showing you the hype. But deep down, they are unhappy, they are restless. You know, I hear a young lady have a song talking about it and run. And when I listen to the essence of the song, yeah, giving up her body, you know, but she don't want the love. Just a hit and run. This is what young ladies are now adopting. And I'm telling you that don't believe them. They want love. They really want love. They think that love is too complicated. It's really that they want. It's not just a sexual pleasure. Right? So don't be fooled by these songs. Life is much deeper than that. And so look for those who are grounded. Look for those who have spent the time to go through the process. Look at the quality life that they live. And draw closer to these people. Pursue whatever dream you have. Find somebody who is connected, who's grounded. Share it with them. They can help to connect you to others. So young people out there, I'm saying, be true to yourself. And you'll see them. It might not be as common, but good role models are still out there. Align yourself with these people and go for what you want.
So thanks, sir, that we're coming to the end. What last word you want to say? What you want to say?
Well, that word to the youths is really could be my last word, but I want to say to persons, you know, look at life, you know, just observe life for yourself. And I would want to say one of the greatest things that a young person or anybody can do is really come to understand self. Know yourself. Because for me, salvation is really knowing oneself and knowing God. That is how I define salvation. So growing up, salvation was to me where you go and you get baptized and you go to church and you read the Bible. This is a part of it. But really and truly, to be saved is really knowing oneself and knowing God. So I want to say, young people, old people, know yourself and know the God that creates you. Everything else will fall in line. That is my final word.
What an inspiring story. Thank you, sir, for sharing.
Bless you, sir.